Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys my new favorite map for running Sentinel with. It makes the mechanic so much juicier, smoother, and easier to run, especially if you're running a build where stuff tends to be dying a little bit too fast, or if there's just not enough monsters on the screen for your Pandemonium Sentinel. You get all of the benefits of city square altar farming with a lot more benefits of the Sentinel mechanic, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. I like to refer to it as the linebacker strategy, where you just have massive hordes of monsters chasing after you. You guys will see it in action. And there's also a few other differences to the way that you run these maps and the things that you can do with them compared to the old city square strategy. We're also going to go over a few other maps that you may want to look into. But first, of course, if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Really help me out, and like the video if you enjoy the Sentinel content. But first, I do want to apologize quickly for my previous video. I know that some people didn't see the video yet, and they were trying to buy an Impossible Escape. They had it all planned, they had ones eyed out, and they wanted to buy it, and then my video dropped and it made everything increase in price. I just want to let everyone know it's never my intention to do any sort of market manipulation. I make all my currency, I try and keep it ethical, no handouts. I didn't buy any jewels, I just bought the ones I want to use myself, and that's all I'm really doing with them. And overall, if you missed out on a jewel you were trying to just quickly get and buy, I apologize for that, but hopefully some people learned how cool the jewels are, which was my main goal. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get into Beach and this linebacker strategy. Okay. So one of the biggest issues with Sentinel for a lot of people is A, they have a lot of trouble getting used out of their Sentinels before all the monsters are dead, and B, they can't find enough monsters to empower, or there's not enough monsters around them for the Pandemonium Sentinel, and that is what this strategy aims to solve. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do in a beach map is probably proc your Eldritch Influence. So you can see here, now I've procced my Exarch. The next thing you want to do is probably have a character with some level of immunity to stun. That would be ideal, and or phasing. That would be great, because you're about to see why you're going to need that. So you're going to want to come up here. I'm going to kill some monsters to get stun immune, and then you're going to grab all the monsters and dash through them all, and you're going to line back, grab all those monsters there, smack them with your Pandemonium, grab some more monsters here, pop the Stalker Sentinel, not killing any mobs yet because we're running an altar strategy here. So now I've fully empowered everything, and I'm just going to run to the boss quickly without killing any more mobs, kill this pack in the front here, and then kill the boss, and then I'm going to clear the map in reverse. And that essentially gives you all the benefits of Sentinel without any of the clear speed downsides, and now you can run the map as if it's normal. Granted, you do have to do the line backing and get through the mobs nice and safe, but if you have some level of stun immunity as well as like defensive measures, it's just fine. And you'll notice that I'll get some pretty damn juicy Pandemoniums there earlier as well. You can easily get through, for example, the Cryptic Pandemoniums. You can get through like Stalker Sentinels with hundreds of charges. You can even get through multiple use of Stalker Sentinels when they have the redeploy modifier on them. It's absolutely fantastic, and it really does take a lot of the micromanagey, gross little parts of Sentinel out of the equation. And then you're essentially running juiced up maps which have a ridiculous more amount of loot when you get and double back to your Sentinel empowered mobs, which we'll get to here in a second here. It's just absolutely great. So here we go, we're getting some fossils, pretty damn good. Scoop up some of those, and we'll take a look at what we can get over here. So we got a fractured ring, not too bad, but you guys get the idea. You clear the map in reverse, and it's going to be way, way better, and you won't have to worry about empowering any monsters, and you also don't have to face tank individual spooky, scary monsters, because you can kind of off-screen them like you would in a normal map. Very, very good for surviving for ranged builds, which have a little bit of trouble when monsters get up and close and personal in their face. And I think it might also be pretty good for minion builds as well, potentially. It gives you a whole lot more monsters to play with than in City Square, and overall, I think that's a pretty damn good thing. So we'll just quickly get through this essence, and we'll run back to the start of the map, and we'll get all of our loot from all of the empowered mobs here, which is pretty damn good. Some rubber combinators, that's pretty damn nice. Quite a little bit of currency there already. And then I'm going to go through the new possibilities that open up with this beach strategy, as well as a few other maps that you can do this particularly well with. Now, you'll notice that you do get all of the benefits of killing the boss first with the boss altar rushing strategy. That is fully in effect here for the most part. You might proc 1 or 2 altars on the way up to the boss, but for the most part it is fully online. And overall, that just makes for a much more efficient overall experience, and it's going to be way, way better. All right, let's jump out of here, and I'll give you guys some massive benefits and the possibilities that open up to us with this strategy. So I've already talked about being able to burn through far more Sentinel charges. It's absolutely trivial to get through a 100 empowerment Pandemonium. Even 200 is particularly easy. You guys saw how many monsters were on the screen. There's just so many lags out your computer on Beach. It's crazy. As long as you got Sextants on there, you can really push it, and you can get even to up to 300 on one screen. And if you want to go even further, you can use Elder Scarabs to put even more monsters into the map. However, we're going to touch on that in a second here, because there are some big possibilities that have opened up regarding stuff like that. Okay, so because there's so many monsters available to you, and you can run past them all, and you pretty much get to empower your pick of the litter of the entire map on the way to the boss room very, very quickly, you can now, in theory, take the Stalker Sentinel node that does this one here. Stalker Sentinels do not empower normal rarity enemies. This is a viable pick now. Previously in City Square, you probably wouldn't have enough monsters to make this feel good, or you'd get jammed in a corner or like next to a wall or something like that, and it would feel completely trash and you'd end up dying. It would suck, and overall that wouldn't be too good. But now in Beach, because you're just running past significantly more mobs that even exist in City Square, it's just so much easier. A lot of the shrines are situated in the middle of the map. A lot of the strong boxes are situated in the middle of the map. You can run through tapping all those, and there's plenty of magic monsters to go around and get you value from this node. Now, okay, so why would you even want that? Most people just consider magic monsters to have a higher chance of quantity and all sorts of stuff like that. Well, there is a mechanic at work here which most people are not aware of, and that is that normal, magic, and rare and unique monsters are not created equally when they're empowered by Sentinel. Overall, Sentinel actually has a bias towards higher rarity monsters when it's applying reward tiles. So you'll notice if you empower a boss in a map with a high empowerment Sentinel, it's almost always going to get a reward tile on its head. I encourage you to go out and try that on a triple boss map or a normal boss map. Empower the boss with a Stalker Sentinel and see, does it get a reward tile? 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you it's going to get a reward tile on its head. And overall, this also is true for lower tier rarities as well. So normal monsters have a pretty bad chance to get empowered. Magic have a better chance, rare again, and unique is almost guaranteed. And if you empower a monster and it is guaranteed, it actually has an overflow state for the rewards. What do I mean by that? So let's say that you empower a boss with a super duper high empowerment Sentinel. It actually has a chance to empower it so hard that it actually can drop multiple times of its rewards. So let's say that I empower a boss with a Scarab reward. Well, if it has high enough empowerment, it'll actually drop 2 Scarabs, maybe even 3 Scarabs from that boss. So based on how hard the monster is, as well as how high your empowerment is, it can actually drop multiple rewards of your type. This is particularly potent when you have the % chance to get a reward tile on something. So if I, for example, luck out and get the 2.8% chance on a unique mob, well, that's going to be pretty damn good, because overall, that'll have a higher chance of being doubled based on my empowerment, which is really, really sweet. And overall, I think that is really powerful, meaning this node here, which is now open and available to us, actually has a whole lot more merit, due to the fact that empowering the magic monsters is going to yield more average loot from your Sentinels, and we all know how good that is, so it's absolutely crazy. All right, so just to give you guys a bit of a recap, what have we got here? We've got seamless Sentinel gameplay. We still have the altar farming strategy. In my opinion, it's more safe because there's much less collision in Beach. And if you're using stuff like stun immunity and phasing, you're going to be able to sprint through and it won't be an issue. Overall, you've got a much easier experience. You can clear the map in reverse, and it's actually probably, I would wager, faster than City Square when you do so. In addition to that, you also have the quality of life of getting all your Sentinels out of the way at the start. If you're doing something like Essence, you will know the pain of having your Stalker Sentinel out and then popping an Essence and then it becoming invincible. Here, you can get all of your Stalker Sentinel out of the way, then you can do all your Essences in the reverse clear, and it's just so damn nice. It's really, really awesome, and it's going to be pretty juicy. Okay, you also get the Pandemonium Sentinels. They're going to be way juicier. You're going to have way more enemies that are going to be empowered by them. It's going to be fantastic. In addition to that, you can also take advantage of some secret tech on that unique front. And of course, I just mentioned null portals before. What are null portals and where do they come from? So by using Elder Scarabs, you can actually have a chance to add these special Elder portals to the map. They appear every 1 in 3 maps on average, and overall, they drop a ton more loot than usual, and they are treated as unique monsters. And as such, your Sentinels will pretty much always guarantee to put a reward on them. And in most cases, sometimes if you have high empowerment, you'll get multiple rewards from them, which is absolutely fantastic for your currency per hour. So adding null portals to your already jam-packed beach can be an even better recipe for big currency gains. And overall, you might want to look into that. Furthermore, you can look into other maps which have significantly more unique monsters in them as well. Some people are starting to adopt rogue exiles as a strategy, which can be pretty fantastic as well, especially because you're empowering them with tormented spirits. I think there might be some interaction with the higher and harder a monster is, the more chances it has at double dropping and triple dropping its reward. I haven't tested that yet, but it's possible if you have a ghosted exile and it gets the reward tile, it can drop significantly higher loot than usual, due to the fact in the way that difficulty seems to scale with the mechanic and increase the rewards that you get. In addition to that, Beyond is also quite good as well, and the specific maps, I won't give too much away, which do also have a ton of unique mobs in them. I'll give an example here, which isn't going to be too insane, but it's definitely a pretty good example of it. In the Precinct map, you can get up to like 7 bosses or something along those lines. City Square obviously has 3, but my friend Firegrass is probably going to do a video on Glacier, which you guys should definitely check out. It's fair to say there might be some shenanigans going on in Glacier, so definitely go check that out when he does put the video out. I think he's going to do it in about a day, but I don't want to spoil his video, so I'm not going to give too much away. There's a few other maps that you can do this line backing strategy where you run to the boss, empowering everything on the way, and then go and go and go. And those are, there's quite a few of them, but the ones that work really well from my mind and have tons of mobs which have like potential to be Pandemonium Sentineled is Beach first and foremost. You can also do it with Dunes. Dunes is quite a good one as well. And then first and foremost, probably the premier one which most people are going to want to pick up and do after this is Cemetery. Now Cemetery does have a few downsides over Beach though. You don't always know where the boss is going to be on Cemetery, so it can take a little bit longer and be a little more dangerous to get to the point where you can reverse clear and kill everything and do all of the stuff in the game and make sure you have good altars. Other than the random boss location though, Cemetery can be quite good as well, but I think that Dunes and Beach are definitely far more consistent. If you're looking for a pretty chill playstyle, that's where I would start. Now, a few other people have pointed out you can do this on maps like Strand and Atoll. Atoll is quite quick and quite easy to get to, and that is pretty good recommendation. But overall, it doesn't really have a high enough mob count where you'd be comfortable using your Stalker Sentinel very, very early before you get to the boss. And it also doesn't have a high enough density for stuff like the Pandemonium Sentinel. So I think stuff like Atoll isn't really that optimal. Mesa, for the same reason, I don't think is that good. And you'd be better off with City Square in that case. But ones that I do think do have some potential, but are let down a little bit, is stuff like Strand. Everyone seems to be thinking Strand could be good. It definitely does have a lot of monsters in it which could be empowered, and it does scale quite well with different lead mechanics. However, my issue with Strand is that the map is just too long. You see how fast I got to the end of Beach. It's pretty quick, and by the time I was at the end of Beach is basically the time I had finished all my Sentinels. Strand, however, on the other hand, is quite long. I imagine it would probably take you at least twice as long to get to the end of Strand in order to get to that point where you can start reverse clearing, and I'm not sure if that's really worth it unless you have a character which is very fast or uses like shield charge or something like that. I don't know if it would be worth doing Strand, as it doesn't really drop anything additional over Beach, and I believe Beach has a pretty similar or higher mob count. Getting on to that though, Beach, Cemetery, and other maps which you can do this reverse clear strategy on actually have a higher density than City Square. So your map sustain is going to be better, and you're also going to get more Eldritch monsters from my understanding, which it means more Eldritch altars, which overall is more currency, which is really, really good as well. So overall, I think that this is an improvement. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little bit of a tip video, and by popular demand, I will show my Atlas passive tree and my Sentinel controller. This is what I'm running currently. I may potentially spec into this Stalker Sentinel node soon. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to drop for that, but I think it could be pretty good. And then in addition to that, I will show my Atlas passive tree in full because everyone seems to be asking me about it. I'm currently running Sands as the only standout mechanic here. Oh my goodness. It is primarily so that I can use my own Scarab Sentinel, my own Scarab Sextants when I get them, because I think that those are pretty good money right now. I'm still running Singular Focus despite all of the controversy. It's been working for me. Not really sure much what to say about that. And I've now transitioned into doing Harvest, but there will be future videos on that coming up soon. Let me know if you're interested in the Harvest tech, because there is some pretty crazy stuff you can do. Okay, with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry again for the jewels. Anyone who knows me knows that I wasn't trying to do that. I'm not trying to price fix or anything like that. I just bought the ones I like, and I was just having a good time with it, and I wanted to share the experience with everyone else, and so everyone could get excited about the jewels as well. All right, until next time, cheers.